of our Constitution. We may as well take a minute. If you are not aware, I'm Pat Clark. I'm board chair of Keystone Progress Education Fund. I'm also serving temporarily as the acting executive director. I have to my left on the screen, maybe not yours, I don't know how that works, Carmina Taylor, also a member of our Keystone Progress Education Fund board. Carmina, you also work with other organizations. What other organization are you affiliated with?
Sure. I have a statewide coalition group called We Can't Wait PA Statewide Coalition that's based out of Martin Luther King's book, Why We Can't Wait for Justice. And I have a Montgomery County group called the Movement for Black and Brown Lives in Montgomery County that focuses on educational equity.
Swell, thank you. And
that's two of one.
You know, you got to narrow it down.
Exactly.
We could be here all day, I'm sure, with any of our membership wearing different hats. Over to the far left, Laura Nevitt, who joined Keystone Progress and the Education Fund these past few weeks, I guess 6 weeks now, maybe a little bit longer, couple of months. Laura, want to say howdy, introduce yourself while we're awaiting the congressperson?
Hello, and from my previous location, aloha. So yeah, I just joined Keystone Progress end of January as the new operations manager. I come out of 20 some odd years of political organizing, community organizing. I've worked in 7 different states across the country. Most recently, I was in Hawaii for 5 years. So where I did advocacy and organizing for children and families. And so made the move back to the continent in when did I get here, Pat? I'm totally lost. Like, when was that again? March. I think I landed in Pittsburgh on March 2nd. So yeah, just excited to be here and getting to work. Been having fun with this summit. Lots of good conversations to come. And because we had so much programming we could have done that we literally didn't have time or space. So we're going to work on bringing those things to you in May and June. So get you all ramped up for the primary season.
Laura, when she flew in from the Big Island, I guess you probably flew out.
Nope, Big Island is why I flew in from Oahu. So that's
Oahu. When she flew in from Oahu, she was greeted, as is tradition here in Pittsburgh, by our native Pittsburghers with a lei of pierogies and Native Americans who said, why are you on our land?
Yeah.
And we welcome her, and I say aloha, which means, of course, hello, goodbye, and I love you. Then we have Richie Tabachnik down in the center, although I will say Angelo Valvano, who's our Western Pennsylvania organizer, has been hopping in and out. That's a little pun. Richie, oh, there she is, hopping back in and waving. Angela, you want to say a word?
Angela's silent. She doesn't have audio.
She doesn't have audio.
I'm Richard Tabachnik. I'm the board chair of Keystone Progress.
Her language is emoting.
Let's see, what am I? I'm a retired engineer, business owner, and active in the progressive movement in Pennsylvania for a long time.
And this, you should all know, we made a decision, and I actually, when I received the call from Representative Raskin, he asked if we were doing this virtually or online. I said we had a tough decision to make a few months ago whether or not we were going to do the Gridiron Club approach and do it in real life and then have people leave with COVID, or if we were going to struggle with technology, as many of you have done over the past couple of years. We chose the safer, although perhaps more irritating, at least for me personally, version, and we went with the technology. So we appreciate you all having patience. Again, with chat, anybody wants to, one of the downsides is that we don't have the ability online to do the sort of groovy interactions that we have when we see somebody from, I don't know, Monroe County showing up and talking to somebody from Erie County. Anybody wants to put in the chat where they're from, why they're here, what they are looking to get out of here, and hopefully you've had a good time. Thank you, Gene. Gene Bigmeyer is here from
Lancaster.
From the cloud, from Lancaster, and looking forward to seeing us all in person. Christy Ganebus, also board member of Keystone Progress from Erie County, PA.
Does everybody know how to use the chat or have it open? We should also check because sometimes it doesn't automatically open when you're in here. So up at the top of your screen, there should be a little line with an arrow, which will expand or collapse that chat window. So you can click on that. And then, yeah, it's kind of fun to see where everybody's from. Allegheny
Joe
County.
Green, Gene Bickmeyer, good to see you. Cindy Purvis from Erie. Cindy is one of the folks who was, we had been discussing having participate with the summit. We're going to actually do hopefully pull together a continuing series over the next few months of events, including some that we weren't able to get into the summit this last 2 days. Chester County, Bucks County, Lancaster County. Paige is on our board for the C4 organization, and she is from, I believe that's pronounced Arkansas. From down in Arkansas, she is still sitting on our board because she's been a really dedicated member of our organization for several years now. Scott's in from Lawrence County. Oh, Jess Weingarten. She's asked good and tough questions in previous sessions that I've been in, and she's in from Chester County, a county that's dear to me and actually reflects the name of my dad, Chet. Has nothing to do with him. He was not from there, not from Pennsylvania. Sadly, from Ohio, one of the only a few people that I hold dear from our neighbors to the west. Nothing personal, Ohio. It's just.
I'm going to remove myself from the screen, but I will be paying. I will be listening, and if folks need me, I'll chat at me. Good luck.
Thank you. That luck will be provided for us by Congressperson Jamie Raskin.
By technology.
Yeah, my understanding, and technology, yes, to an extent, technology. So we're keeping an eye out for him showing up. Excuse me, while it's getting sunny here, it's going to screw up all of my lighting.
I sure hope that ding was the congressman joining.
Oh, that's Carmina's ding. She's been dinging the whole summit, as I recall. Gene, thank you. I'm generally amusing only to myself, so thank you for the LOL. Oh, that's another thing. If we were to continue, as we hope we will, to do a series of these online sort of mini summit things, anybody have ideas for what they didn't hear about this year at the summit that they would like to hear and see featured as an agenda item and an issue of training? Stephanie Sun, also a board member for Keystone Progress Education Fund from Philly. But yeah, if anybody wants to see stuff, public defender funding right off the bat there, Gene, thank you. We will take these into consideration as we build programming. One of the things that we've had to do, but we're trying to do to a better effect over this year, is making sure that we continue to push these things out online. They're not that, I mean, one upside of having to do things virtually is you don't have to rent from expensive hotels, halls, and we can put more funding into the actual outreach and effort. Paige, again, from our board down there in Arkansas, says quarterly summits, sort of mini summits. We talked about doing that. We've also done that in Erie a few times, just sort of for that section, not just of Pennsylvania, but also spilling over into Western New York. I know there's a name for that if you're a New Yorker, a New York stater, but also portions of Ohio that are very similar to the Rust Belt areas of Lawrence County, Mercer County, Erie County, and those have worked very well too. So we're considering doing that. One thing I will actually shill, and Angela, if you're around and want to give more information on it, we're going to be doing a young voter and young activist and young leader related session sometime over the summer when is best time for folks, and we'll keep you posted on that. But we have an intern of ours from Chatham University and a recent graduate of the University of Pittsburgh working on Camp Keystone, which, from what I understand, I have not seen the detailed proposal and budget, but we're excited. Will take place in an actual camp. And we are looking to identify those camps and to do something. Actually, the best thing about those discussions is that we heard from those young leaders and activists, and they told us that calling something a summit was sort of arcane and wasn't really working for them. So they came up with Camp Keystone. We're going to have to obviously get in touch with the Wellstone people to just make sure that they don't sue us. It's, we have no desire to impinge upon anybody's actual brand or whatever, but that just, that has a camp in it. So we thought that would be good. Well, Congressman Matt Raskin is now 1 minute late beyond what he told me he would be. But again, I'm shocked. I don't know how many people here, raise your hands, have dealt with elected officials before. Those elected officials, everybody raise their hand as to how many times they show up right on time. I don't know. They do trainings and stuff if you get elected. And I know that there's one that happens up in the Laurel Highlands that a lot of people go to when they get in office, and they tell them everything to do. I haven't ever been into one of those things because the last thing I want to do is run for office, let alone be elected. Other people have different ideas of fun than I just got to think that there's probably something there that they like ahead of time. They get their run of show meeting agenda, that sort of thing, and the kickoff at time is 3:00, and they put in the instructions to show up at 3:25. Paige, you have actually been through that experience. That's fantastic. Can't wait for Jamie Raskin, but we are going to have to. Well, I like the s'mores. Yeah. I mentioned in an earlier panel in which I participated on the U.S. Census. One of my cornerstones of community organizing is to show up and make sure that you have a barbecue to get people going. I'm going to mute right now because we have an incoming call. I believe it might be a congressperson.
Hopefully, this is good news for all of us.
Progressive organization. All right. Yeah. Okay, Congressman, if you'll wait a second, Richie Tabachnik, who is this guy I've got on the phone?
Congressman Raskin. Thank you, Pat.
Congressman Raskin. Without further ado, that was your introduction. What do you think? What's going on? What do we need to know from you?
Thank you for the introduction. Hello to all of you great Keystone Democrats out there. I'm sorry I'm not there in person with you, and I'm not even on Zoom, but I am on the phone, and my heart is with you guys because I love the Pennsylvania Democrats, and I love Mary Gay Scanlon and Madeline Dean, who was, one of our impeachment managers, and Dwight Evans and Susan Wild and Chrissy Houlihan and all the amazing Democrats of Pennsylvania. So you guys are an essential force for democracy. I don't need to tell you that, the Democratic Party, whatever faults we have, whatever imperfections we have, we are the party of democracy in America today. There's only one left, and it's us. So we need everybody to struggle within our party to make it the very best force for the common good and for progress we can, because Lincoln's party has become Trump's cult of authoritarian personality. They position themselves outside the constitutional order. They attack our constitutional processes. They try to destroy the peaceful transfer of power. They don't respect the outcome of our elections, and they are positioned against our whole constitutional system. So the Democratic Party is the party of democracy, or as Roosevelt used to call us, the democracy. He'd say, you know, the aristocrats and the royalists say invest in the very wealthiest people in the society, and a little bit of the wealth will trickle down to everybody else. But the democracy says invest in the common people of the country. We will all rise and prosper together. So, you know, we are the party of Franklin Roosevelt and Eleanor Roosevelt. We are the party that looked at fascists marching in the streets of Europe, and we did not see very fine people on both sides of the street. They knew exactly which side of the street we had to be on. We had to be on the side of freedom and democracy. And this week in Congress, I was getting heckled by Marjorie Taylor Greene and by Lauren Boebert and the whole team of those Putin sycophants and the well, I don't even want to say it, but you know what they are. And I will tell you that in a week when the Russian army is raping women and killing them and leaving their bodies in the street and shooting children in the face, they're blowing up hospitals and schools. We've got Republican members of Congress who are chanting Russia hoax when we get up to speak. So I don't know if you guys saw any of the footage, but I just had enough with them, and I turned on them and I said that there is a Trump-Putin axis running right through the center of the GOP and Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. And she's absolutely free to expose herself to the world, but stop heckling me and do it on your own time. Anyway, look, my friends, we are in the struggle of our lives here, and Donald Trump is still at large. Our January 6th special committee is working very hard to assemble meticulous accounts of everything that happened on January 6th, all of the events, all of the causes behind it, and then what we need to do to fortify American democratic institutions in the future against coups and insurrections, the kind that the shrinking GOP has planned for us, because they can never beat the majority of Americans. I mean, Hillary, when she lost to Trump, beat him by more than 3 million votes in the popular vote. Joe Biden beat him by 7.5 million votes. The young people are coming our way. The new Americans are coming our way. And every day I hear from Republicans who write me and say they can't take it anymore. They can't take being, part of a party of lies and conspiracy theory and disinformation. So our forces are building, and it's just a race between the will of the majority and our ability to organize people, educate people, and motivate people to go and vote and to participate in the political process versus their bag of tricks, like the gerrymandering of our elections, which I know you guys in PA know a lot about, having suffered from all those Republican gerrymanders, and the use of the filibuster, which is about the most anti-democratic thing out there, not in the Constitution, not in federal law, a rule of the Senate, which has more than 100 exceptions to it right now for budget reconciliation and the Trade Adjustment Act and you name it, but they won't carve out an exception to their stupid filibuster rule for voting rights, the fundamental principle of our democracy. So they got the filibuster, they got the voter suppression statutes, they've got the gerrymandering, they've got their court packing and right-wing judicial activism, and against all of that, we've just got the overwhelming majority of the American people. We got to organize, and we got to be serious, and we got to play to win. So I love the Pennsylvania Democrats. Pennsylvania is, of course, right at the heart of this struggle, and I'm hoping that all of you will get all of your kids, grandkids, friends out in this struggle. We're doing our Democracy Summer Project for high school and college students. So if you've got any of those living in your house, tell them about Democracy Summer, and they can sign up with the different Democratic members of the House. And thank you for having me. And I'm coming up to Gettysburg soon, and I come to PA whenever I can, because I know that you guys are the central terrain of battle as we move forward. Hang tough, everybody.
Thank you so much, Representative. Do you have time for question? We had one or two come in. First of all, this is not a question, but Gene Bickmeyer on our summit said you should consider it a badge of honor to be heckled by those no goodniks. So
Well, I
good on you.
appreciate that. I will keep that in mind because it's getting very loud and noisy. It's hard to focus when you've got this constant murmuring and hissing. It's like the Rocky Horror Picture Show or something. I mean, it's
just not fun.
Unbelievable. But yes, I appreciate that, and I'm going to be ready for the next time.
Other question we had was, and I understand propriety and all that sort of stuff, but do you have a clue, a ballpark on when we might see public hearings on the January 6th incidents and insurrection?
We're very hopeful May, but it would be June at the latest.
June at the latest. Fantastic. If you could ask us for one thing from Pennsylvania, and I will remind you that Pennsylvania is a little different than Maryland. The threat to democracy here is like being in a sub with a Klieg horn that never goes off. What should we do to support the efforts to protect American democracy that you've been so instrumental and a cornerstone in over the last few years?
Well, the first thing is you guys have got to win at least one more House seat, because when the reason why that they were putting all of that coercive pressure on Mike Pence was they wanted him to assert utterly lawless and extra constitutional powers to unilaterally reject electoral college votes from Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, and that would have lowered Joe Biden's total in the Electoral College from 306 to below 270. At that point, under the 12th Amendment, it would have been kicked to the House of Representatives for a so-called contingent election. And you ask, well, why did Donald Trump and Mark Meadows and Steve Bannon want Speaker Pelosi and the House majority deciding who's going to be president? Well, under the 12th Amendment, we don't vote one member, one vote. We vote one state, one vote. And in that election, they had, and today still have, 27 states. We have 22 states, and Pennsylvania alone is the only state that's tied. It's 9-9 in the delegation, and we've got to make that 10-8 to at least add one more vote to the column of states that's going to try to conform to the popular will rather than steal the election for Donald Trump. And obviously, we got to win a few more back from the other side. I don't think they would have had the vote of my new best friend in Congress, the at-large representative from Wyoming, Liz Cheney. But even without that, they would have had 26. It would have been 26 to 23 to 1. So let's make it 26 to 24 and take two states from them, so they can't use the contingent election provision as a way to steal the election next time.
Well, I can tell you we have activists, organizers from, you may have heard it, Erie, Pennsylvania, which is both a city and a county, one of whom, Cindy Purvis, is pledging on behalf of the folks up there, and also directly contrary to Mike, used car dealer Kelly, that will win in the 16th here in Pennsylvania this year.
Well, that's good to hear. I was... when I got heckled the other day, I was up against Congressman Rushenthaler, who's from Pennsylvania, who seems like a perfectly nice guy. But I told him, Pennsylvania has the most extraordinary lineage of politicians, and specifically representatives in the House, none greater than Thaddeus Stevens. And I said he should make Thaddeus Stevens his role model, somebody who believed with all of his heart and all of his mind in freedom and liberty and equality for the entire population. And he would be turning over in his grave to see Pennsylvania Republicans getting up and defending insurrectionists. So please remind people of your guys' great history and don't let them get away with this.
Well, we will do our best. I have a reminder that Thaddeus is from our fair city, often mispronounced, Lancaster. It's a single syllable, as I'm sure you being down in Maryland are aware, not Lancaster, as I'm inclined as a Midwesterner to pronounce it. But I know you have to hop at 3:30. We're going to keep you on time to keep your other engagements very happy. I thank you so much. We look forward to continuing our work with you. And I'm going to ask you for a favor. We are going to come down and present in person the award they're about to bestow to the U.S. Capitol Police for their service in support of democracy and our elected officials and employees there of the U.S. Capitol. We're going to be doing that sometime in the next couple of months. If I may, I want to make sure you're aware of that. I know Congresswoman Dean and Congressman Doyle are both aware. We want to make sure that we make a big show of this because there are a lot of folks who think that folks over on the left, progressives, don't really care for law and order, let alone the rule of law and the Constitution. I think, if I may say so, they're full of shit. But we want to demonstrably show that, and we'd love your support in doing that.
Well, thank you for doing that. I will absolutely be there if I'm not in committee or whatever. I would love to join you guys, and I'll leave you with the message and lesson we're trying to send to all of the young people of Maryland, and I hope across the country in this election, which is everything that you need to know about voting is everything you need to know about driving. If you want to go forward, you put it in D, and if you want to go backwards, you put it in R. And that's all you need to understand. So I yield back to you, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Congressman. Very much appreciated. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you. And with that, he is gone.
Yep. All of us from Western Pennsylvania don't think of Guy Reschenthaler as a nice person. So if you ever listen to his radio shows, they are
any thoughts,
openly racist, homophobic.
Any thoughts or comments folks have, just put them in the chat there. We're more than glad to continue for a bit our conversation. And again, before we actually, how hillbilly is this? God bless America. We made it work. I mean, a few years ago, we wouldn't even had a phone that wasn't a dial-up and rotary. But yeah, we made it work without technology and in spite of technology. So thank you all for your consideration on that. Any thoughts on anything? If we do go down as we plan to, and again at 4 o'clock, we're going to present our announce our Anna Berger award to folks. Love to have you participate in that. We're going to have the Assistant Chief of the U.S. Capitol Police in attendance. And if all goes well, Anna Berger herself, who was a core founder of this organization, Keystone Progress, and former national leader in the SEIU union. But they're going to participate at 4 o'clock with Richie and some of our other board members to make sure we honor the Capitol Police for their efforts. But yeah, anything folks have, drop it in the chat. Any thoughts that we should deliver when we get to go down to the Capitol? As anybody on our email distribution knows, we will make sure you're aware of that. Richie, I believe you actually interact not infrequently with the Congressperson Raskin. What have your dealings been with him? And he's obviously a good person to work with, was very accommodating for us.
I'm having some tech issues. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
You're sounding broken up and echo to me, so maybe tech issues on my side. I actually got to meet with Congressman Raskin just 10 days ago when I was at a meeting of the Congressional Progressive Caucus welcoming the new executive director of the nonprofit. They're sponsored by the caucus. Gave pretty much the same speech that he did today. I think it's what's in his heart and what's at the top of his mind.
Oh yeah, Elizabeth Rhodes is appreciative of the student driver. All we need to do, as she's pointing out, the D to go forward and R for backward. It would be great. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I've been a longtime supporter of why can't you vote at 16? Why can't you at least register and get active as a registered pre-voter at the very least? But I see no reason that if we're trusting people with you can get a gun at 16, you can drive a car at 16. I believe you can probably even get a commercial driver's license, although I'm ignorant on that. But sure, why shouldn't you be able to vote? And I'm glad that they're really pushing to be able to make that happen. Richie, I will tell you, your audio is getting very wacky right now. So whatever is going on, you may want to mute. Oh, and there he goes. That's why his audio was wacky. It looks like his Wi-Fi was kind of wobbly. Well, anything else folks have to say? Otherwise, we will adjourn for about 25 minutes until we reconvene with the Anna Berger Award, knock wood, with everything working. Oh, and I am glad to say that I have successfully done what happens on almost every one of these online things. I'm the person with the ceiling fan showing. So with that, Richie, are you able to talk a little? Pardon me. Go ahead, Carmina.
I'm back.
I thought that point that he made about the state breakdown of the 27 and the 20 is something that we should really take note of again and be very mindful of that. One of the things that has become a pattern in most of the sessions I've been in is really looking at moving forward in this election tactfully, and strategically. Like, we have to strategically explain to voters the dynamics that are happening in our General Assembly, the dynamics that are happening in our Congress. So I just thought that was another good angle to share with people outside of us that think about this all damn day. That's just my thought. I'm 6 sessions in, so my mind is probably frazzled at this point, but I just wanted to at least share my thought on that. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I try not to think about this all day. It is frazzling. All righty. Well, with that, thank you, Michelle Green, for your input. Stick around, have a cup of coffee, get yourself a delicious Pennsylvania brewed beer or glass of wine or Coca-Cola, I guess, non-carbonated drink, whatever. We'll be back at 4:00, and make sure to check out that session on the Anna Birch Beer. Yes, absolutely. Anna Berger Award. And we look forward to looping back in with you in about 23 minutes now. Thank you very much. We'll see you.